guys, welcome to a new episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have the 2021 GoRuck champion.
2022.
2022. I am so sorry. Katie Knight, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Not bad. Thank you for coming on. Actually, Xander, our mutual friend, told me I should have you on, and I was reading your backstory, and I was like, wow, this is like, she's impressive. I got to get her on. But before we talk all about that, I know you're a big fan of your dog. So his name is Doug, right?
His name is Doug. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, sure.
Come here. Come say hi. Come here. This is Doug. Doug,
he's
say
a big
hi.
one.
He is. He's 2.5. He's a red golden, and he's like, "What's happening?" He'd probably just stay the whole time. Yeah.
Hey, no, good. Yeah.
He's out.
He's bored.
Yeah, already.
Yeah. So, have you always been like a dog person at all, or?
Yeah. So I grew up, born and raised in Iowa. Had tons of pets, tons of dogs, cats. We've had pet squirrels, turtles, like anything and everything, like litters of kittens and puppies. So I've always been more of a dog person for sure. I love cats too, but I love a dog.
Awesome. So you said you're from Iowa. So were you like outside all the time and like just doing crazy stuff? You were pretty athletic back when you were younger?
Yeah, pretty much. Just always outside. I played tons of sports growing up. I was a 4-sport varsity athlete in high school. I played ice hockey in college. So like I'm one of 6 kids, and we're all like pretty athletic. Most of them do CrossFit. They run. So like a very athletic family and background, which was just a blast growing up.
Yeah. So do you think like are you like on the older side or like kind of like in the middle or the youngest?
I'm like the baby. I'm 5 of 6.
Okay. So do you think that's like a huge help from you, like becoming a better athlete, like, playing sports with like your older siblings?
Yep. So my dad was always my coach for like every sport, softball, hockey, you name it. And so I always, because they didn't want to split time between different like leagues and stuff like that, I would always play up. So my sister's 2 years older than me. So I would always play on, the older kids team. And I think that definitely helped just like everything about my athleticism, like mental game as well, because it was hard being like over 2 years younger than everyone in the league I was in, and kind of had to step up my game. So,
yeah. Yep. So did you get a lot of playing time, or were you kind of like towards like the back end of the game, like, okay, you get in, or what was it like?
Oh no, I was front and center usually.
Okay.
Played, shortstop, catcher for softball, always out there on the ice. I played with the boys until college. So there was no like backseat. You were either all in or, not. So
yeah. So after you finished playing college hockey, did you kind of get that like feeling of like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Like after you left college?
When it came to athletics, like a little bit, I got pretty like into CrossFit in like 2016, and kind of like put all my effort and focus into there. And then finally kind of broke into the ultra scene. And like 2019 was my first like ultra marathon. And since then I've kind of just like made my way in the things I love to do. And that turns out to be like a hybrid athlete where it's strength and endurance.
Okay. So what made you kind of lean towards like CrossFit? Like, how did you find out about it?
Yeah, actually, my mom. So my mom's 61 and she still goes to CrossFit every day.
Awesome. Good for her.
She got us all into, CrossFit workouts, Olympic lifting, things like that. She's been a fitness coach for, 30 some years, but it is kind of funny. She started and then she's like, oh, you got to do this. And now like 4 or 5 of us do.
Nice. Were you hooked like right off the bat, or were you kind of like I don't know about this? Like, yeah, I'll try it out again.
I was pretty hooked. There's nothing better than lifting heavy weight and some high intensity workouts. So I definitely drank the Kool-Aid and stayed around.
Real quick. Yeah. And so you said, in 2019 you wanted to do like the longer endurance races and stuff like that. So what was your I'm a very new thing, because like I know the Spartan races or like all those like things where like, you have in large, do it in like large groups and like everyone just like supposedly runs to the obstacles, hangs out there
Yep.
for a little bit and then just like waits and then everyone else goes and then it's your turn.
Yep.
But like when did you realize, when did you start doing them and realizing like, hey, I could actually be really good at this?
Yeah. So the first ultra I ran was the rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon. A bunch of buddies of mine from the CrossFit gym I worked at in Boulder wanted to do it. And it's 50 miles total. You go from the South Rim to the North Rim and then back. So that was like my first taste of like something very long. It took me around like 15 hours to cross and go back. It's pretty insane. The elevation gain and drop on both sides of the canyon is pretty massive. And I'd never seen the Grand Canyon before. So the first time I actually saw it was when the sun came up and I was at the bottom. I was like, oh, this is why people like coming here. Let me just suffer for 24 miles more. But so that's when I first kind of got into the ultra scene. My first Spartan race was actually a year ago next weekend. So I've only done 4 or 5 and I realized they go pretty well for me. So, you have the running and then you have the strength when it comes to all the obstacles, the bucket carries, things like that. And so it plays in my favor. But yeah, I've always done like the ultra distance for the Spartan races. So those are 30 miles.
Mm-hmm. So obviously like running 30 miles is very, very, very long. And so how do you train for that? Especially like in the mental game of like, just keep on going, like, one foot ahead of another. Like how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, this is literally just like what you say. I don't have any like magic, thoughts that go through my mind. It's just basically you have to keep going because the alternative is to stop, and then you're not going to do that. So you just keep going. But to train for that, I mean, I spend a lot of time like on my feet, hours on my feet, long runs, long bike rides, to kind of get in that mindset. And then like the high intensity workouts and stuff that also kind of helps with the mental game of like keep pushing, keep working hard. So the strength component of my workouts also contribute to like my mental toughness in ultras.
Yeah, and you've done like some 24-hour races too as well.
Yeah, so I did Spartan Ultra World Championships. That was in Telluride last year. And I got third, technically second, but on a penalty technicality, I got third. They canceled it this year. It was supposed to be in Tahoe this weekend, but the smoke and fires up there, they had to cancel it. So a bunch of buddies and myself are doing 50K on Saturday and a 50K on Sunday this weekend. So that's on Saturday, and the Sunday race has like a ridiculous amount of elevation gain. So that should be fun. And so then I did World's Toughest Mudder last November, and I'll do it again this year. So I'll have to, defend that title that lots of people are coming for. But
yeah, and so you also won this year's GoRuck championship too. So how did you like find out about like that? Did they kind of like rope like all the hybrid athletes in, saying, hey, we got this like challenge or we got this competition, like come do it?
Yeah, so like they announced it, and a friend of mine told me about it, and you went and applied. So you had to apply. They picked 40 females, 40 males, and then you all showed up for a 2-day competition. That was pretty brutal. There was multiple events each day, everything from like a 12-mile ruck on the beach, carrying a very heavy flagpole, to very fast, hard, intense workouts.
And how heavy were those rucksacks?
So women usually carried 35-pound plates in the ruck, and then men had 45 pounds.
Okay. They didn't round up to 50?
No, I guess not. We did a mile sandbag run where you had weight on your back, and then you also carried like an 80-pound sandbag.
Okay.
So that got a little heavier. But yeah, it was super fun.
Okay. And also I've noticed with those GoRucks bags, they're okay bags. Like, so did you get like any bruising or any like huge rashes on like your lower back at all?
No. So if you have them like fitted well, they don't really rub. I mean, eventually, you're running 12 miles, it's going to rub, on some places like your lower back or your shoulders. But you can put like tape, you can put like Body Glide, things like that, which will help.
Okay.
But those bags, like and not just because I'm a GoRuck athlete, but they never break. That's a good thing. So like, it may rub on your skin, but they'll never break down at least. Your body might, but they won't.
Yeah, I mean, that typically happens. Like, obviously, if you get like a real shitty bag, pardon my French, like it's gonna like rub against your back and stuff like that, and it's not gonna be the greatest bag. But obviously, I know GoRuck's done a lot to, make their bag look really nice. Even they brought it to the CrossFit Games too, which is pretty cool to see. So,
and they have like really good sand kettlebells and sandbags. Like the sandbags are pretty impressive as well, because I've been at CrossFit gyms where like the sandbags just fall apart, right? But these are pretty heavy duty, so it's nice to have.
Yeah, I've actually trained somebody on a sandbag and they let it go and like literally just sprayed everywhere, all over the floor.
Oh no!
Like, oh my gosh! And it wasn't sands. Like the way this company did it, it was like it's like this company called Escape, I think.
Okay.
And so there was like this like handle bags and stuff, and so I made it into a huge ball so he could do like sandbag squats with it, like holding it in front of him. And he just let it go, and this like all these like it looked like a glitter bomb just blew up like everywhere. And I'm sitting there like, oh my god, I gotta clean this up, and I gotta throw this bag out. And it was like an 80-pound bag, and I was sitting there like,
oh geez,
oh my god, this is awful. But yeah,
so you got to switch to GoRuck bags.
I know we gotta, they gotta definitely.
There you go.
So with the 24-hour competitions that you have done. Obviously that takes a lot of, damage to the body. And so how do you handle, the whole like nutrition phase while you're doing the competition and what do you do for like recovery after? Because like, obviously like, I don't know how, like I've never done like a 24-hour challenge of like running. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, so the 24-hour races are usually like certain distance loops, and then there's about 20, give or take, obstacles per lap. So think about it like as NASCAR. So you'll run a lap and you'll come back into your pit station. Usually have like a team there that helps, they have water refilled for you. They have snacks, whatever that you need. So like for the nutrition wise, as the race starts, you're, taking on more things like gels. Very fast liquids. You always like, at least a bottle a lap, like 500 milliliters a lap, because when your hydration goes, you just kind of, you're out. Like there's nothing, you can't come back from dehydration.
Yep.
Lots of sodium. So I work with a company called BOA. It's a sodium spray. It's got 170 milligrams of sodium per spray. That's good to put in your pack. You take it with you, avoid cramps. You're just sweating and losing so much per lap that like, you're going to do anything and everything to just like stay energized. So like, you start out with gels and then come like hour 12, it depends on the person. I go to things like pizza and oatmeal and whatever I want, salty, sweet. You always want like a huge array of different types, to like, depending on what you want at that point in time. And then, basically, when you get towards the 24-hour mark, it's anything and everything. So this last year I had, like, they went out to McDonald's and they got me like cinnamon rolls because I'm a huge cinnamon roll fan. So they got that from McDonald's and things like that. So it's just like whatever it takes. But always lots and lots of water, BCAAs, electrolytes, and sodium. So
yeah, I read a book like a long time ago. It was like a famous like ultra marathon runner. Yeah, he was an American. I forget his name, but yeah, like literally right in the first chapter, like the introduction, he's like calling a pizza joint and he's like, hey, I want a whole cheesecake. I want a whole pizza. I want a whole like all this stuff. And so he's like talking to him on the phone. He's like, okay, like how long does it take to deliver this stuff? And he's like 20 minutes or something like that. And he's like, all right, meet me at this intersection here. And they're like this, and the guy on the phone's like, there's nothing here. And he's like, I will. And he's like, I will be.
I will be there.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's insane of like what you have to consume pretty much for those crazy like 100-mile runs or like in what you're doing. So it's just,
they usually recommend like 200 calories an hour. But that increases the amount of hours that you're running and that you're out there. So,
yeah. So what was like the most unhealthy thing you've eaten at a race?
I don't even think there's such thing as like unhealthy or healthy, but if you're like, I would probably say, pizza or that cinnamon roll. I had a bear claw, those big like honey bun things. I've had those before. Sometimes candy, although I don't love candy because it's just like, it's so chewy. I love Uncrustables. Those are my go-to, like hour two, just because I never eat them on a daily basis. So I'm like excited to run for 24 hours so I can have them every lap.
Nice. So little known fact, you could actually make your own Crustables.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my wife bought this on Amazon for my kids. I have two kids. I have a 7 and a 4-year-old. And so you could just make a peanut butter jelly sandwich, like have all the stuff in the middle, and you can have a Crustable cutter that cuts it, and then you have a presser that turns it into a Crustable.
Oh my gosh. Where did you get this? Amazon?
Yeah, of course. Amazon. Where else would you get it?
I'm literally going to go on after this and do that. And then I'm going to bring my own homemade Uncrustables to races.
Yeah. And so what she did was after she put it in like a Ziploc bag and froze them for a little while. So they'd actually like stay, and then they put it in the refrigerator and gave it to the kids. The kids were going nuts over it. Because they actually thought it was like a legitimate Crustable.
Oh, wow. She tricked them. Good.
Yes.
Well done, Mom.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. It's all like natural organic peanut butter or like sun butter, and then like organic jelly, just like not that pre-processed crap. So
well, and you could switch up like your PB&J type ingredients. So you could do like, almond butter, you could do raspberry jam, you could do all the stuff that Uncrustables don't. So I like that. Yeah.
And you could also, if you want to go like very carb heavy, you could probably put like macaroni cheese or like a lot of cheese in there. So kids are like, oh yeah, what is this?
Well, like grilled cheese. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So also with the GoRuck stuff and the 24-hour challenge, you do high rocks too as well, right?
Yeah, so I usually compete in high rocks as doubles. So I have myself and a male partner, and we've done that for over a year. So I have done it solo as well. This year I'm undecided if I'm going to do the co-ed partnership or just go at it solo. So I'm still deciding on that. I have kind of the rest of this year to finish out the races I have, and then I'll hit that hard in January if I decide to.
So I heard Xander's available if you want to get him on there.
Yeah, he likes to do it solo, so we'll let him do it that way.
I had him on the podcast. We talked about high rocks too a little bit too.
Oh, nice.
So, and I also heard on another podcast, supposedly with the high rock stuff, like the American version is a little bit different compared to the European version. It comes to like the fields or something like that.
The distances and like the carpet that used for the sled pull and push can be different. I've never personally raced over there, so I don't have that experience. But from everybody I've talked to or heard, they all say that. So.
Okay. So, and obviously like you have like these other challenges like the Spartan races, like GoRuck goes like international too as well. So do they how do you manage, the changes from being in America to being in Europe? Are there any changes at all or any rule changes?
No, not really. I mean, usually I race like locally. I just went over and did what's called Swim Run World Championships, where you're swimming and running between islands out in Sweden. So that's a whole different game, but it's a very endurance based competition. Probably one of the most brutal things I've ever done as well.
Sounds like it.
But other than that, I usually stay local when I do races. So there's not a huge difference.
Okay. So with you racing like other people and stuff like that, are they like really competitive, or is it like a pretty friendly group that you guys are like together with?
For what races?
Like any races, like any of those endurance races or whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, it's all very competitive. So these are all like elite divisions for High Rock, Spartan, Tough Mudder, GoRuck, any other kind of hybrid endurance strength event. They're all very, very competitive. People are there. They train. That's what they essentially do for a living. And so it's very, very competitive, but we all know each other. So we're also like friends. So it's friendly competition, but everybody's there to win. They're there to take home the money. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's almost like CrossFit. Everyone's friendly to each other. Then when it gets like competition time, they're like, nope, I don't talk to anybody. Just do your thing. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, just depends on what kind of like competitor you are. So like, I like to have fun, laugh, talk, like I am there to win and compete, but like, I'm gonna still have a good time. Like, I'm not going to get into the place where like I'm mean to other competitors. Like I like love competing and love having fun with everybody.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Very cool. So obviously, like, there's you have different seasons in your year. So
Yeah.
how do you able to, like, like, what's your training style throughout, like, the whole season?
Yeah, so the beginning of the year usually is a lot of like the strength-based competitions, more of the hybrid, where it's a lot of time in the gym and then also on my feet running. So I'll usually split that up like 3 days of strength training and then 3 days of endurance work and
Hmm.
one rest day. And then as we get towards the end of the year, like I had this 24-hour race coming up, that's all endurance. So the majority of my week is spent biking, running. I was swimming a ton for the swim run world championships. So it kind of shifts. And then right now we're just like in ultra mode. I do have one strength competition coming up. So I'm still keeping, as much muscle as I can, but it's a very fine line because, if you're running and biking for hours every day, it's going to take a toll on your muscle mass. So you
Hmm.
kind of have to make sure you're eating a lot, make sure you get a lot of protein in, you're lifting heavy still, because I think personally, like, my strength has never been a downfall in my ultra like endurance game.
Hmm.
I think it keeps me, strong and healthy. So I'll keep doing it.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've heard cases where, like, if, like marathon runners or like triathletes or something like that do like deadlifts and like back squats, they actually run faster than athletes that don't even do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and your muscles get fatigued like a lot slower than if you are just like solely doing lots of endurance work. Um, my body can kind of burn through the muscle for energy as well.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, that was me too. I was like right after college. I didn't know what I was doing pretty much. So I was just like, oh, I'll just do triathlons, and I would just like focus on that and like barely lift. And it was just like you could definitely see a difference of, like weight loss, like no muscle
Yep.
definition. And I was like, I got called out from all my like military buddies. They're like, dude, like what's happening to you? Like get into get into a gym. And I was like,
Yeah, you're looking skinny. I get that. I get that all the time. I mean, I'm a bigger like endurance athlete already. And I've been told that forever, like, oh, you don't do ultras, you're too big, you have too much muscle, things like that.
mhm.
But as like the end of the year goes, like to me, I feel like skinny. Like, where's all my muscle? It's just being, eaten by all this endurance work. So
Yeah,
I totally get that.
and that's when you like eat a ton after you like
Yeah.
do you take like a month off or anything like that from training after like the season's over for you?
Yeah, I'll take most of December off. I don't have any races in December, so that will be kind of like my recovery downtime, and then come January, I'll hit the ground running.
Okay. All right, very cool.
Yeah.
Question from Xander. So
Oh no.
uh so he said, what are your thoughts on the Spain Spartan World Championships being canceled?
The Spain's the Spain.
Spartan race from Spain in Spain?
Did he? I think he was probably talking about the one that just got canceled this weekend.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So the Spartan Ultra World Championships was supposed to be this weekend in Tahoe, but they've been dealing with like a lot of fires, a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
smoke up there.
Mhm.
So that makes sense. I mean, you don't want athletes like breathing in poor air quality for 24 hours. I know like the conditions have gotten better, but they called it, over a week ago. So I understand that. What I don't like and understand is their like makeup for that race. So what we heard is that there was going to be a makeup race somewhere, sometime in like October, but instead they just gave everybody a free entry into World's Toughest Mudder in November. So not only did they not get refunded, but they just get a free race ticket, which is fine. But the difference between Tough Mudder and Spartan, like, is quite a bit. Like the course is different. Spartan's usually on a mountain.
Mhm.
The obstacles are different. Tough Mudder is usually flat. It's shorter laps, and there's water obstacles. So you're in and out of the water frequently for 24 hours. So a lot of people aren't happy. I wouldn't be either. So it's an interesting choice. I think they probably should have refunded people.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So is it I've heard there's like another race. I don't know if it's still around called Battle Frog. Is that like the same thing as like Spartan? Do you know?
so that was initially like that's the OG obstacle course race
Okay.
was Battle Frog. And there's been a couple companies that have come through, but Spartan's been around for, the longest, the most successful. And then they bought out Tough Mudder. So that's why they gave that free entry away. It's part of the company anyway.
Yeah. I just feel bad for the people that have like no desire to do a Tough Mudder like whatsoever.
Exactly. Like I think it's kind of crappy to make that decision. But what are you going to do? I was already going to do both. So I was going to do them back to back. I had like October to kind of rest and recover from Spartan and then go do WTM.
Okay. So, is the prize money like pretty good, or is it like, okay?
I only do races where like I'm going to win some dough because I'm not going to put my body through, 24 hours or, 2 days of competition if there's not some kind of payout. Spartan is usually pretty good. It's usually goes like first place is $8,000 and then 6 and then 2. World's Toughest Mudder is 10 for first. And then I think it goes down a couple thousand each place. So,
okay.
Yeah,
so,
the payout's good for that. GoRuck paid out very well. They put on a phenomenal event. I usually like to go to competitions where like there is a payout, and then also like I want to like have that title if I win, or it's a great company I want to support.
Very cool. Very cool. So what do you think are some options that like they could raise the prize money up? Because obviously like with CrossFit, their prize money has gone up almost like every single year. And people still say like these athletes are not getting paid enough, like towards like the, like when they're hitting like 20 down to like 40. So obviously with the payouts that you guys are having, it's not as big as CrossFit, but what do you think are some of the maybe like options that they could do to give you guys bigger payouts?
Well, like more brands could get involved and help sponsor these events. So like I've been a part of events where it's all from, brands and sponsors coming in, and that's where the prize money is allocated. But it's hard because these, as much as we want them to be, they're not professional sports, right? It's not the NBA, it's not the NFL, where they're, fans are bringing in lots and lots of money. So like, more brands could get involved, more spectators, more fans. They could find a way to like make it more of an event that people can come watch. Because for Spartan and stuff like that, you can't really go watch them out on the course. So that's kind of tricky. But yeah, at the end of the day, you kind of just have to accept it for what it is if this is the sport you choose to be in.
Yeah. Well, you could get fans out in the mountains. Just look at the Tour de France. Like they have like dudes out in the middle of the street, like running with that bicycle guys, like go, 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 and like smoke everywhere. That could be a possibility.
That would be really cool. Last year when the race was in Telluride, people could take the gondolas up and go watch from certain areas of the course. And I know they love doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that venue was just beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been to Telluride, but it's very, very cool.
Now I've been to Colorado. I was like, I went to Keystone. I think that's like the town over there. So
got ski resort.
Yeah, got altitude sickness, all that good stuff, and it was like my wife and I were just absolutely miserable the whole time. We're like, all right, let's try to snowboard for at least like one day, and it was just an absolute mess. But yeah, I want to go back to Colorado. It looks beautiful, and just even like during like the summertime or springtime. So I got a lot of things on my bucket. I got a lot of things to go on my bucket list. So.
Yeah, you definitely have to get out here. I would come in the summer or the fall. Those are the best times for sure. Unless you want to ski, then obviously the winter.
Yeah. I haven't skied in years, so it's been bad. It's like because kids actually, I think it's been like almost 8 years since I haven't snowboarded.
Oh wow, yeah. So you're due. It's time. It's time to come out and visit.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. But so what are some of your favorite places that you've actually done a race on?
Yeah, so Telluride is definitely like up there. It was just it's a beautiful mountain town. The views were really cool while you're up, on the ridge lines running. The last race I just did, which was the Swim Run World Championships, that was in Sweden. So it was in the archipelago right off the coast of Sweden, so a bunch of islands.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been to Sweden before, and it was just breathtaking. Like, it was so beautiful because you're swimming in between these islands, and then you get out and you just like, it feels like kind of Lord of the Rings type views, right? So that's definitely like one of my favorites. When I did World's Toughest Mudder, that was essentially in the desert outside of Vegas. So not the prettiest, but the sunrise and sunset were like glorious because they came up over like the mountains in the background, out of like the sandstone, and so that was really cool.
Yeah, could you see the Vegas Strip at all, or is you were that's like way too far out?
It was like a little over an hour, but it was in Laughlin, Nevada, and they actually have their own like, it's like a mini Vegas. So they have like their own strip. So you could see that. And like some country artist was playing a concert that night. Okay. So as we're running like laps in the desert, you could hear this band playing, and it was kind of cool. I was like, wow, this is pretty fun.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. When you actually team up with like a partner for some of these workouts and stuff like that, like, do you have like a certain person you're looking for, or like, do you kind of like have a group of people that you already know and like kind of reach out to them? Or do you have someone that like, you think you see somebody like work out and say, hey, this person might have the ability to be a partner with me?
Yeah. So I love to train with people and in groups. Like I said, I've been in the CrossFit scene. I love getting in hard training sessions. I think you can be pushed to your hardest and top level when you have those kind of competitors with you doing that. So like, I've trained with Xander. I've trained with a lot of like pretty high intensity athletes in the CrossFit realm. So that's like my favorite. For endurance, like it's harder to find those individuals that like want to go as far or as hard or as long. I usually end up doing like long bikes and runs by myself. I'm kind of a lone wolf when it comes to that, but I'll always want to get into the gym and find someone who wants to lift heavy and go hard.
Okay. So when you're training all by yourself, what kind of music do you listen to?
So for the longest time, I didn't listen to anything, which is kind of crazy. But when you do races and ultras, that's usually not allowed to have any kind of music. And so you have to get used to it, because if you're always being motivated by the next song or the next, audiobook or whatever, you're not going to be able to do it when it comes to just like silence. So yeah. So I don't really listen to music. If I do, it'll be like a mix of whatever I'm feeling that day.
Okay, because usually, like when I was training for triathlons, I would play like techno music once in a while, and I'm like, okay, I got this sick big coming up. Like I know for a fact I'm gonna push it. But then there's like sometimes even when I'm training, like I can't, like when I'm doing CrossFit, like I can't put headphones in my ears. Yeah, it's like I feel like they're always gonna fall, and I don't want to like my weights drop on it or anything like that. So like I'm like the psycho that doesn't listen to any music while I'm like training whatsoever. So yeah.
You'd be a psychopath with me. But
but it's weird for me when I train or when I'm doing the open, like I can't hear the music when I'm working out.
Right. You're just going. You kind of like black out and just go. Yes,
yeah. Exactly. Unless there's like some like awful song going on and I'm like, this is terrible. Like I can't, like I don't know why this is in my head right now. And then I start singing it while I'm like working out, and I'm like, this can't happen.
I will take like sometimes playlists, and if I have a certain loop I do on my bike or on my run, I'll like know when I get to a certain spot when like a song comes on or, the beat drops. And so like I try to get, faster and faster where I'm beating that as well. So that's, if I do listen to music, it's kind of for training as well.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Do you play any games like while you're out running and stuff like that to kind of keep this like
head games?
Yeah, pretty much.
Not really. Sometimes I'll just when I'm running or like doing these 24-hour races, I'll think, wow, what did I just think about for 10 minutes? Like your mind just kind of goes blank sometimes, or, you think about anything and everything, really.
We're getting close to the end. So I kind of have some like rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And so, but they're not really rapid fire questions. Okay. I always say that because it like usually takes longer than it really, really is.
Good, because I'm terrible at rapid fire questions.
No, all good. For the rest of the year, I know you have like a couple races coming up. You take a break in December. Are there any races that you haven't done that you really want to do?
So yeah, I would love to do, it's called Leadman. It's the Leadville 100-mile bike ride and 100-mile run in Leadville, Colorado. It's super big. I don't know if you've heard of it, but very rare. It's very rare people complete both of them because they're back-to-back weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens. It just happened like a month or so ago. So next year, that's an ultimate goal of mine, is to go back-to-back for those.
Okay. So are you allowed to have like a triathlon bike with you, or like what kind of bike do you have to use?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You actually, if you can get a triathlon bike, I'd highly
Yeah.
recommend it. So highly
For
recommend
sure.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So next question. I know it's getting close to the end of the year, but what are some of the goals that you have that you want to accomplish, towards the end of the year and maybe next year? It could be personal or,
Yep.
I don't know, athletic wise.
Yeah, I plan to. Hi, Doug. I plan to defend my title for World's Toughest Mudder. That's one goal. Next goal is I just launched a bunch of training programs for my company, my online fitness company called Nighttime Training.
Oh, cool.
And so I hope to get to 500 clients by the end of the year. Shout out to everybody who's already signed up for all the programs. Like, it's really cool to see that like love and support in the community. So that's definitely another goal. And then just continuing to train hard. And I work with 3 or 4 brands now as sponsors. And so just continuing to put out work for them and really promote their company, their products, because I only signed with the ones that I really love and believe in. So yeah,
right.
those are about 3 goals I got.
Nice. That was one of my questions. Like, if you had like what are the reasons why you picked these sponsors? That was, so you pretty much said it. So
yeah, it's like, I hate more than anything when people like work with brands and, sponsors and promote it on social media, and it's just like super fake, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's like they're just being paid. So like, I work with BOA because I truly do use it in my training and races. I work with Beam, the CBD company, because I use their nighttime drink every night to just help me pass out, and then their CBD rub. Like, I used it before I even started talking with them about a partnership.
Oh, cool.
And then GoRuck, just because I believe in everything they do as a company when it comes to like the very high quality products that they make, that they bring people together for like, rucking communities and rucking events. I've always been a big fan. I've had lots of friends involved like in the company and that do all the ruck competitions. So I really wanted to get involved with them.
Okay. Do you have any other spots, like, any other like companies you want to be sponsored with?
Well, it's a running joke on like many podcasts I've done, is that I always used to wear Merrells for running shoes.
Okay.
And so I wanted for the longest time to get sponsored by them, but I don't wear them anymore. So, and they didn't want to sponsor me. So whatever.
Boo.
I'll get them one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I might potentially work with a couple other brands that I love and support. So I'll, announce those on Instagram and stuff in the future.
All right. Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
So what is in your gym bag?
What is in my gym bag? I actually don't have a gym bag. I just carry everything with me. I've lost so many gym bags in my life, and like jump ropes and everything I put in there, that I'm not risking it anymore. So usually what's in my car for the gym? That's a better question.
Okay.
I have a belt. I have wrist wraps. I always have, the BCA drink that I mix and make. What else do I have? That's really it. I'm pretty simple. I don't like own a ton of gear, just because I usually end up losing it. But
yeah. Okay. Very cool.
Yep.
So this one's going to go a little deep. So
okay.
Let's just say you're lying in bed and it's your last day on this earth, and you have all your friends around your bed, and they're asking you, like, how do you want to be like known as?
How do I want to be known as? Like, remembered as?
Yeah, remembered as. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to be remembered as someone who was very kind. I think that's really important, and people don't underestimate like what being kind can do in someone else's life. And just like that, I was very helpful and supportive. So like, for my job, I work as a trainer for Google and then my own online company as well. I love to help people reach their goals. And so like, if I could be remembered as like someone who like was very helpful and supportive. And then I really do hope to be one of the greatest hybrid ultra endurance strength competitors that has been. And we're just going to keep doing that by winning competitions. So,
Okay. All right. I like
yeah.
that. I like that. So how did you become a trainer at Google?
So I used to work at CrossFit Sanitas, which is used to be CrossFit HQ, Eric Rose's gym in Boulder. So I started there, and then I got into corporate health and wellness. I worked for Oracle, the big tech company. They have a big campus in Colorado, and then COVID hit, and so that shut down the campus, and everybody who was non-essential got let go. So then I found this job for the Google campus in Boulder. And I applied for that, and my past experience and knowledge, expertise, yada yada, got me hired here. So
nice. So for someone that wants to start an online program, what have been the pain points for you with online stuff?
Online programming. A lot of like knowledge and expertise when it comes to programming out workouts and training guides, training plans. That's very important, that you know what you're talking about if you want people to hit their goals. So like I have a hybrid program. It's essentially what I have done / am doing depending on the time of year. And so I know it works. And then I have like more like an aesthetic program where it's like, it's called Body Shred, and it's people who want to like get back into shape, look good, feel good. And so having that knowledge to get people where they want to be based on the goal, I think that's number one. And then also just like, putting it out there and, promoting it and telling people that like, being supportive and positive about starting their fitness journey, because it can be a scary thing. I have some clients who like have never done a squat before, and I have some clients who want to win half marathons, etc. So really just like helping them along the way and then promoting that to people.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So where can people reach out to you if they have any questions about your online programming, anything with like, hybrid racing or endurance racing or anything like that?
Yeah. So you can go to my website, nighttimetraining.com, if you want to learn more about the programs I offer. I offer one-on-one training as well. And then you can always shoot me a DM on Instagram, K80_night, K80night, and with any kind of question that you have.
I just realized it was just like Katie Knight, that your Instagram. I was like, God, you just said that. I was like, how did I not realize that? I'm an idiot.
A lot of people don't. Some people do instantly, and then some people are like, that doesn't make any sense, or they just like K80. Okay, but yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh wait, it's K80. I'm like, oh, that was like one of the questions I was maybe asking. I was like, what is this? What does that mean? And I'm like, oh, Katie Knight. Oh, idiot. Okay. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it. I learned a lot from you, pretty much, from like GoRucking, all the crazy endurance races that you do and stuff. And I've always got course to do one, but I've never done it. So I think maybe next year might be the year that I might actually try one. So
yeah, you definitely should. Always just try. You never know what could happen.
True. Well, thank you for your time, and I do appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you for having me.